LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network. LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.
This is it. This is for all the chips. Work for championships. No, it gets no better than this. Just sit and relax a bit. We're talking to pass and blitz. We're talking to jump and switch. We're talking to pitch and miss. Cleat space, kick space. You come to the right place. Beat bait. I don't need to see other shows. I'm straight. Cause they're not impressing me. I tune into Legacy. Legacy. Fourth and goal and on the road. Legacy. Down 3 seconds to go. Legacy. 2 out, bases loaded. Legacy. It's not a mystery, you're tuning to Legacy. Check the flag on the final lap. Legacy. 12th round, who gets in the mat? Legacy. You want a Legacy. You build a Legacy. Broadcasting live right now so the whole world can see. Now, the LegacyMaker Sports Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. We about to get this bad boy started.
Here are your hosts, Darrell Owens and Jay Quimby.
Yo. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 303 here of the LegacyMaker Sports Podcast here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network. I'm your man, Darrell Owens. Alongside with me, as always, the man, myth, and the absolute legend, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. What's up, sir?
What's up, brother? How's everything going? I see we're having a heat wave here.
Yeah, I know the heat wave is definitely kicking up in a way that we I think we both would wish it was going the opposite way, but at the current time it is not doing those things. But you know,
no, it's supposed to be almost 50 today.
Well, 50 and I think 60, maybe 60 next week, which is definitely starting to get a little better than what we had, because God knows that cold
negative 12 bullshit.
Yeah, that bone chilling cold, that one that hits you different when you walk. You're like, ooh, like wait a minute, I wasn't prepared for any of that.
That is not what you were thinking in your head, but I love how you cleaned it up.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Just gotta clean up a little bit. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. We got a lot to get into today. We got to talk NFL, of course. We're hitting week 17. We're going to go over week 16. A couple of big announcements in the NFL over the last couple of days, and so we're going to go over those. But we are going to start off with the NBA because, and this is probably the only time we talk about the NBA throughout the show today. But last night, Jay, Luka Doncic makes NBA history with a 60-point, 20 rebound, 10 assist game. So he had 60 points, 21 rebounds to be exact, and he had 10 assists. Absolutely crazy, Jay. He went off last night. Now, before we get into that, let's take a quick pick, a quick peek at what he did last night, because it was crazy.
For three on the money. Love it. He's a tremendous talent that just has found a comfortable spot for his skill set. Rose just turned it over, and the quarter ends with Luka knifing through the entire Knicks defense to score. Now they have corrected that on the official stat sheet here. It is a basket for Powell, not for Luka. I was going to tell you that, but I figured you would know. Now that's a basket for Luka. It is. Tonight saw the Clippers erase a 14-point deficit with just over 3 minutes to go against Detroit. They won in overtime, and here's a chance to cut a third of the lead down for the Knicks with a three-point play if Luka finishes it off. They have the longest road winning streak of any team in the NBA this year at 6. And if they finish this off at 7, Luka, that'll give him 45 points in the game. Here is Luka giving the ball up to Hardaway. Luka with the rebound, puts it in, and it's a foul. With 15 seconds, he's got a chance for his 50th point of the game and a chance to make it a three-point game. Nothing shocks me about this game. And that Drew rim, it's still loose. Luka got it back. He did it. An improbable comeback by Dallas to tie it with 1 second left. It's unbelievable. It is a miracle. It's overtime. Stranger things have happened.
Oh man, look, that's the crazy thing about it, man. Look, Luka Doncic is a monster. We talked about a couple years ago, Jay, when Luka was coming out into the NBA. The biggest talk was at the time, like, who should be the number one pick? Should it be Luka? Should it be Trae Young? Should it be DeAndre Ayton?
Or we even have Bagley come out, and he was.
Yeah, I mean, Bagley was big in that draft. And Bagley, unfortunately, out of those 5, hasn't had the career that we thought he would have. But going back and looking at that draft, I remember we did a top 10 before that draft. We did a top 10 mock draft. And me and you both were going back and forth on who we thought should be number 1. And I remember clearly, I know Aiden was the, consensus, big man. You don't see a big man of his size can do, kind of the things he can do. And, it made sense. It made a lot of sense. Like nobody was upset that they went with Aiden at the time. But myself and you, sir, both said, look, if Phoenix is smart, you got Devin Booker, this young Luka, this kid is like, you can see it. He's dangerous. And now we look at it a couple of years later, and it's like, yes, Phoenix is doing well. Don't get me wrong. Phoenix, one of the best teams, been in the NBA Finals with Aiden. But, man, they could have Luka, man. Like, that's the part that kind of get Luka and Devin Booker together would have been dangerous.
It would have been dangerous, but then also you go back and you look, because that 3rd pick was Atlanta's.
Right. And that's the other thing, because now you made the trade. Dallas would have had Trae Young, and Luka would have been in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta, a sports land that doesn't win championships unless you're the Braves. Unless you're the Braves. The NBA team, I don't think they've ever won one. If they did, I know they've been to the finals years ago.
With Wilkins and Kevin Willis.
Yeah, the Falcons have been to 2 Super Bowls, and they didn't go too hot. And it's just like, you look at that and you say, man, and you look at the trade in hindsight, it still kind of worked out for both teams. Both players have gotten their teams to the Eastern/Western Conference Finals.
Trae Young is not a bad player.
Not at all.
Trae Young is not a generational talent. Luka is. I'm sorry, I don't care. Y'all can hate. Luka Doncic is gonna waste away unless they put more pieces around him down there. I mean, we can say whatever we want, everybody's like, well, LeBron wasted away with your Cavaliers. Yeah, well, LeBron is not, he's a generational talent, but he does not have the leadership to take a whole bunch of nobodies. He's got to have his 2 and 3 guy. We've seen it for decades. So no, argue what you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I look at this and say, Luka has straight up been the man. We've seen him do stuff like this over his time frame, and we've seen Trae Young do great things. But it's just like this was a really good draft. That top 5 in that draft it wasn't too shabby.
It wasn't too shabby, but like you got Jaren Jackson is not
panning out to what he. Here's the thing: Jackson has always been hurt. Like he's always hurt, so you don't get a chance to see what he could. When he's healthy, you're like, man, that guy could be really good, but he's always nicked up. So Jackson was a really good piece in that draft. Bagley, of course, Aiden. It's just when you go back and look at it, Luka Doncic.
You got the straight up thug of Grayson Allen.
Oh my guy, Grayson Allen. Look, man, Grayson Allen is as tough as they come.
I need some genetic testing to see if he is actually Bill Lambier's like stepson or half son.
Like it's like his half son or something like that. Look,
because I mean, damn, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, and you're gonna behave. And it's funny because watching Luka continue to be who he is amazing. And now like you said, you hope Dallas doesn't waste his time. He's obviously set to be the next, I won't say next Dirk, but like Dallas has been lucky with 2 great international stars. He's going to be I don't see him going anywhere else unless he begs to get out,
Now, you say 2 great, but don't forget Steve Nash started there, didn't he?
That's true. Steve Nash was in that mix, for a while, but
Captain Canada.
But you look at those 2 to get lucky enough to bring in 2 like amazing. Oh, yeah. Luke at this rate, Luke is a Hall of Famer. Not now, but on the path to.
Didn't he?
It's just crazy.
Like, in his second year go after Oscar Robertson's or would no wait, I'm
You
getting
think about Russ.
that was Russell.
Russ went after Oscar Robertson, was able to get the record, but
This is still, I mean,
I,
how many steals did he have?
2. Yeah, 2 steals and 2
okay.
blocks. 2 steals, 2 blocks. But the impressive thing about it is, like, and it's funny when I heard the stat, I'm like, wait a minute, well, Wilt Chamberlain had a game like that, but he did, but it wasn't the same. So, like, Wilt had, I think, a 50-point game, 32 rebounds, and 10 blocks and 10 steals. So, which is crazy impressive within itself, which is crazy impressive. And I think that's what kind of his was. And I could be wrong on the stats there, but I don't think he had the assist. And I think that's the difference.
It's impressive, but then also we're talking Wilt had a 100-point game.
Yeah, that's true too.
You take the level of talent and what Wilt was playing against compared to what Luka's playing against. It's peaches to pears.
Right. It's impressive in both ways, but just different. And like what Luka's doing with the amount of talent that's in the NBA today. A lot of people make the argument that there's players that are like 6 men or like the 10th or 12th guy on the bench that would be superstars in the 60s. Probably true. In most aspects, more likely true. But Wilt's a guy that would have, in my opinion, transcended generations. Like certain guys can play in any era. And he would have been one of them. But with all that being said, Luka Doncic, you are the man, sir. And what did you do, Phoenix? What did you do?
Hats off, dude. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, but he's amazing. He's amazing. We couldn't go without saying something about Luka.
Beautiful shot, yeah, to boot. I mean, it's effort. It's not as pure as Curry's, because Curry's, it looks like there's no effort in his shot at all. It just rolls right off his hand. Doncic has got the second best shot in the league. Sorry.
Cash or trash, real quick. I know we're not there yet, but I'll throw this in there. Cash or trash that Luka will take over the main NBA, like being the main NBA guy once our guy leaves. Once LeBron leaves out, he's the face of the NBA, in your opinion.
I gotta trash it because you still got Giannis. And Giannis
I love Giannis, man, but I gotta catch that because I just feel like,
but then again, it's really got to get the NBA's office people to stop looking for local talent, stay out of Australia because there are a whole bunch of could have never beens. But you got to go because Giannis, the Greek freak, Luka. There's talent everywhere.
It's the international flavor is where it's at. But I think it would help on an international basis because you look at a guy, who's from the other, not in the United States, and the things he's doing. I mean, we've seen that for years. Yeah. But if he becomes the face of the NBA, which I personally think he will be, it's just amazing, man. It's amazing.
Nobody was paying attention to Lithuania until, all of a sudden, even Americans were buying their swag and during those Olympics. Because you rooted for everybody loves a good underdog story, dude. It's plain simple.
He's crazy. He's crazy good, man. But Luka, congratulations on an amazing game. Now let's go ahead and swing over to the NFL because we're gonna talk NFL probably the rest of the show. But with that being said, we got to talk about this guy right here, Nathaniel Hackett, fired as the Broncos head coach after 15 games. Now, Jay, you had a very interesting thing to say about Nathaniel Hackett. What are your thoughts on Nathaniel Hackett?
Well, Nathaniel, he couldn't hack it.
Yeah, that's where it comes down to. This coming into the season, I think on my power rankings, I had the Broncos ranked at the beginning of the season. I had them at number 10. Obviously, you got Russell Wilson coming in. You're thinking like, okay, all we talked about is how competitive the AFC West was going to be. We talked about how much of a dogfight it was going to be in the AFC West because on paper, those teams looked dangerous.
Those were Madden rosters.
They were Madden rosters. The Broncos rosters was a little bit, but you still had Russell, and you said, okay, Russell's going to make guys like
still at the time had Chubb,
right? And you say to yourself, like guys like what's my man's name? It just went a blank. But Hamler, guys like Drudy, Sutton. This is going to be their time to shine. This is where we're going to see all of that promise that we saw from this young receiving core really take hold. And it didn't happen.
Excuse the French, but it all went tits up.
It didn't happen, man. It just didn't happen. Before we keep rolling, real quick, Aliko, our man Aliko, in the building says, "Happy holiday, fellas." What's up, Aliko? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Darrell, don't forget he needs to send him that link.
Yeah, I gotta send you the link. Hey, Aliko, make sure you hit me up, and I will send you the information to our guy, so that way we can get you some
Jay's
of that.
reminded him twice now.
He did. So thank Jay for that, because Jay knows my squirrel. So yeah, definitely hit me up, and I'll send you.
Did you just do a Doug reference? Squirrel.
Yeah, so make sure you hit me up on that. He says, "Bang bang Niner game." Had to get that out of the way.
I mean, you can't be mad at them for it, because they're playing on all. Purdy is looking pretty.
Real Purdy. 8 in a row for the San Francisco 49ers. But back to Hackett real quick. This team, with all of the, even with the young talent, everybody was thinking like they're going to be all right, man. They're going to be just fine. No, it has been bad. And then the first couple of games, and it was like they were scoring like 11 points and 3 points, and he's like,
I'm just looking at this team.
It's crazy.
There's talent everywhere, every position, every place, and yet, Simmons. It's nice to see him actually stepping up. He had a couple INTs a couple games ago, but if Hackett is not like I see him going working for Matt Rule or somebody in the college levels for the next 5 years, because whatever cred he had is gone.
It's bad, man. I think that he will still be, somewhere, some way, be an offensive coordinator or something. I will put money on it. If Aaron Rodgers is a Packer next year, he'll be back in Green Bay in some capacity. Because it'll be there, or he was in Jacksonville before, but I'll say Green Bay. Maybe he won't be the offensive coordinator unless the other offensive coordinator gets a job somewhere. But he'll be back in Green Bay in some capacity.
This was just the Broncos were trying to find another tree to start taking people from, because your head coach is from the McVay tree, and they were hoping they would get that same success. But sometimes you don't get.
Well, I think they were hoping for that, and they were hoping for Aaron Rodgers, and that's where the mistake came in. The Broncos thought, man, if we get Hackett here, he's got a good relationship with Aaron Rodgers, we can get Aaron Rodgers here. No,
you trade away everything to get Russell, and Russell Wilson looks like a shell of himself.
I look. Here's my thing on Russell, and I know we'll get into Russell a little bit deeper here in a second, but
will we?
A little bit deeper into that situation.
I see it.
There we go. But I feel like you don't just lose that talent like that. Last year we saw the guy playing, and then he had some struggles, but he still played well for the most part. And you just don't you lose it like that automatically. I guess you could, but you can't tell me it's not still there somewhere. Jay.
The IDF has got to be high. That's all I see when he goes out there. There's passion, but it's not convincing passion.
Let's ride Broncos country.
Well, yeah. Well,
poor Russ, man.
Russ used to be a guy that would go out on the field and perform if you weren't there to be there with him. He would kick ass. You don't see that fire.
I've seen what Russell can do, but we'll get into that a little bit. But so with that being said, Hackett is gone from Denver. And they also, I think, let go of either his defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator.
It was
as well.
5 total coaches that went.
Yeah, they're all gone. So, now let's do a quick early before we move on. Who should the Broncos go after? Who should be that person?
Right now, if you're a promising coach, you want to avoid the Broncos, because when they traded, Chubb down to Miami, and because they didn't want to pay him, that tells you the atmosphere there is not what you would want to bring more talent in, because they have talent, yes, but they don't have all the pieces.
Well, they probably couldn't pay him because, one, They had to pay Russell. They had to pay Russell, and it was like, all right, we got to figure something out here. And a lot of people are talking about how young and talented this defense was coming into this season. They had a really good young talent, Patrick Surtain, they had Chubb, and there was no reason for them not to at least be competitive. But we saw the complete opposite.
Browning played great. He's playing great this year. There's no reason except for there's no leadership. And I'm not trying to take shots at him, but I mean, Hackett's on a short list of coaches that got fired within their first year with Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer was surrounded by scandal. I mean,
yeah. Look, Grindgate, rest in peace.
Grindgate, but then also, abusing Lambeau the way he did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the off the field stuff, and Hackett had none of that, and he's gone.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just you could just tell that it wasn't a fit from the beginning. I'm gonna tell you the day I knew he was gone. The day he hired an advisor to help him run the set, like the day he hired that guy to be his like sideline advisor to help him. I'm like, you need that as a head coach. What are the other coaches for? I said, yeah, he ain't lasting. I knew that unless he had started winning, and once they started like tumbleweeding down the the NFL standings, I know.
There's three people right now I could see that would take this. One of them is the OC for the Lions. I mean, he's a hot commodity.
He is.
But we could get the same thing that we got from Hackett. But Bellamy or Flores. Flores is a guy I respect. He's got that walk the line, get it done, and I think that is also somebody that Russ will respect also.
I think they're going to need it's going to be one or two things: a veteran defensive coach. I know it sounds crazy with Russ being there. A veteran defensive coach, a guy like Flores, a guy that can come in and be the kind of like a glue piece, or it's going to have to be
for a second round pick.
Don't do that, Denver. Don't do it. And then I would say probably a innovative young mind. The only reason why this name keeps popping up in my head, even though I know the offense hasn't looked great lately, but that's because of quarterback issues. Watch out for Matt LaFleur's little brother. Mike LaFleur. He would be one that wouldn't surprise me pops up as a name because they, San Francisco blocked him from going to Green Bay. LaFleur was trying to get his brother there, and they was like, nah, bro. So when Saleh went to the Jets, it was like, all right, you can go. They blocked it because they didn't want him to go there because they knew how competitive the situation was.
I mean, Saleh's another coach. I mean, you take Wilson, and now you got White. Saleh's another coach that might find himself unemployed next year.
I hope
hate
not.
to say it.
He doesn't deserve it, though, man. He doesn't deserve it, though, because that quarterback situation has been rough. Everything else in that team has been good. The receivers have played pretty decent. The running backs, despite the injury to
right now, if we were to do the offensive rookie of the year, it's Garrett Wilson.
Right, and Garrett's played really well. That's what I'm saying. Like their defenses play really well. Like if you go back and look at some of the games, they were tough with the Bills. They beat the Bills, I believe, in one of the games, but like they hung with their division. In years where they weren't, competitive in the division, they beat Green Bay. They beat teams that a lot of people didn't think they were going to beat at certain times. So,
we'll get to Green Bay on the
we'll get to Green Bay in a minute. But that's the Hackett situation. I don't know where they're going to go, but I think they definitely need to go with a veteran presence. All right, next one. We're going to talk. J.J. Watt decided as of yesterday that he will retire at the end of the season. So
played his last home game, and mom, dad, wife, and his newborn was there with him.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. I can't think of shame on you, Houston, for not keeping him there. And
right.
I mean, if the ship was sinking, I know why JJ left. But look at all the stuff he did when they had the floods.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he is definitely one of the best. Okay, straight up, if you were to build, like if we remember when we did our defensive teams, He would be a defensive end, and I'd put him on the other side from Reggie White.
We're talking about a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, a future Hall of Famer, hands down, first ballot. And if anybody says anything else, shame on them. We already know he's first ballot. I mean, the things that he did in his time frame. There was that one year that he should have been MVP that they gave it to Aaron. Aaron's second MVP probably should have went to JJ Watt. We talked about that here on the show. The way he was playing, that he was lights out that year.
Do you remember the big hands that they were having the coach, like the underlying coaches put on to practice because of his ability to block passing lanes?
I will say I was honored. I think it was back in 2018. I got to see him play once live, and it was amazing. That was also the Alex Smith broken leg game, which was
it was rough.
Yeah, it's a rough game. But with that being said, he just watching him in before the game playing catch with the fans, and you can just see the fans' faces lighting up. Man, he's just a great guy. NFL Man of the Year. He's Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's a Hall of Famer. So congratulations, brother. Congratulations, JJ, man. It's a big deal.
Just another one of those families. You got the Edmonds family, and then you got the Watt family. I know McCaffrey's are there, but only one McCaffrey's in the league right now. So
right. It's just I wanted to see. He's the type of guy you wish that he'd have had one shot at a Super Bowl. And it's unfortunate. Yes. He did have some injuries, but the guy's first ballot Hall of Famer. It's easy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're voting and you don't vote, they got to take that shit away from you, man. Come on.
Immediately.
Yes.
All right. Next topic here in our top story / headlines. Brady's, Rodgers, and Wilson. What happened this season? Now we've already kind of jumped into Russell a little bit, and we'll finish that up and go with Rodgers and Brady. Jay, I guess we'll just finish Russell. I still think Russell can right the ship, but like you said, he's gotta care, or it looks like he's trying to care. I mean,
he's got to have that fire.
It feels like most of the stuff he's done it doesn't feel genuine. For example, even the whole, Bronco country, let's ride. It felt artificial. There was no passion in it. And it's like, this is not the Russell Wilson I've seen break my heart multiple times. This is not the Russell Wilson that broke my heart on multiple occasions. Where's that guy?
It felt more scripted and acted than genuine. 100%. This is a guy that was a third-round pick that became, one of the highest-paid quarterbacks, and he deserves it because of his resume says it all.
Right.
But we're looking at all these guys, and if this is the level of play we can expect from them, it's time to. I mean, hang it up. My feeling on Brady. He should have retired when he said he would. He'd still have his family. He wouldn't have all the circus of bullshit. I mean, family's number one. Whether it's your tribe, blood or not, family, those are the people that are going to be your ride or dies. Fans, who cares what your fans think, man? Worry about you. Take care of you, because you know what? At the end of the day, as long you don't put that ring on the finger, they don't care. They're going to talk shit about you, whatever. Let them. Yeah. But your family will be there to have your back.
See, that's the thing that the Brady situation is weird. Because, I mean, everybody was okay with him retiring last year, and they were cool with it, for the most part. It's like, it's time, the multiple – you got 7 rings. Nobody's catching you anytime soon. I think the only real hope in most people's eyes would probably be Pat Mahomes, and he's only got 1. So, and it means he's got 6 to go. So, you look at those type of scenarios, there's no quarterback in the league right now that has 2 rings. None. And that's him.
Yeah. I mean, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at the picture down there that you got, he don't look healthy, first of all, to begin with. When he came in,
he lost a lot of weight.
He looked like he was getting ready for, Dancing with the Stars or whatever he was doing with Fox. And then he, I understand missing, being in the trenches or the locker room with your guys. It's a whole different environment. I understand that.
Right.
But you're 40 some years old, man. You got to know when to call it.
You know what's funny about this? And I don't know how true this is, and I could be mixing this up a little bit, but a lot of people think that the reason why he even came back this year after he made that deal with Fox was to, because I think he knew he was getting divorced, and they said he held off the deal with Fox so that when his playing career is over, so that way that the wife couldn't get money from that deal. Like he can get money from the time that they were together, but after that fact, they would be no longer together. If that's the case, you're a very strategic man, sir. For you to sabotage a team season low key because of your personal gain, but
and that he's looking out for him, but at the same time, everybody gave him shit about the way he kisses his kids on the mouth. So what? He is a dad,
right?
Every dad's got a different way of showing love. Ours were just old school dads, and they're like
brought up just a little bit different.
Your kids are supposed to be seen, not heard. Okay,
yes,
type of thing.
Mr. Coach Boyu, whatever you say.
You could tell, his kids were his love. They still are.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then Rodgers, he just needs to find a woman to get him in line, man.
I don't think Rodgers is going to find himself a woman until it's like truly found a woman where the eyes are not on him. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to think about it. Every relationship he's had since Olivia Munn has been the center of attention. Danica Patrick, Shayla, whatever her name is,
Shyla Woodley.
It comes a highlight and then it becomes a sideshow. He's not gonna find anybody till after the fact. Those days,
you gotta find. I don't want to say it. Tactfully say it. That he's got the arm candy, as most men would call it. Find you a woman, a real woman, and yes, I'm not using pronoun. What? Fuck it. Find a woman that makes you happy, makes you whole, and loves you, not your money.
Well, here's the thing with Aaron. Aaron, the last couple of weeks looked better. Not great, but looked better. I saw him running the last game, which was mind-boggling to me. I'm like, oh, Aaron's running again. It doesn't look the same. Like 2-3 years ago, Aaron would take off running. You'd be like, all right, I feel comfortable. I see Aaron run, I get a little nervous now. He still got better knees than Carson Wentz. But he still got better knees than Carson Wentz. But
you got better knees than Wentz, bro.
That's a rough deal.
But no, see, you say the last couple of weeks, but the thing that I've noticed with him, because I watch your games and your tape too, his deep ball is not the best in the league anymore.
No, he got. I won't say like. Well, he reached back in his arsenal this past week and got a couple in there, but he missed a couple.
Throw to Watson. That should have been
that would have put the game out of reach if he'd have got that one to Watson. Now he had a nice one that he hit Mercedes Lewis on the sideline. He still has some touch. Then I'm like, man, sometimes I'm like, man, that's amazing. Because that pass he threw to Mercedes Lewis along the sideline still blows my mind. Mercedes Lewis is 187 years old.
It don't matter what game it is, whether we're getting blown or not. Brady, the last 2 minutes, you see the leadership, you see the fire, you see the touch, and his ability to read defenses come back all of a sudden in the game.
It's crazy, right?
Well, it's muscle memory. It's like any warrior, like soldier or anything that you do repeatedly becomes automatic. It's muscle memory. You go back into that. So I think like right now, Brett Favre could come out of prison. No. And you put him in a 2-minute drill and he could hit the stuff. What?
Oh my God, it's great. That's great. Definitely needs to be in prison though. God bless him.
But I think the other two need to hang it up within the next 2 years, if not sooner. And then Wilson needs to find the passion, or he needs to go to.
Yeah, sorry. I think a lot of people think that Wilson is starting to look past his NFL career. Because let's be honest with you, he has a career outside of the NFL. I mean, along with his wife. Is he going to go play
baseball?
I think he's going to have an analyst role. Like Russell has that. He reminds me of a little bit Tiki Barber. When Tiki is a very well-spoken. This is going to sound bad. This may even sound racist, low key, but I apologize. He's extremely well-spoken. Okay,
Right. I know exactly what you're
you know
saying.
exactly what I mean. When you see like some former players leave, and I'll throw a couple out there, Michael Irvin. Oh, come on, man. Michael Irvin, those type of guys. Some of them come out. Michael Strahan's another one that came out, made a really good career for himself. Nate Burleson. I think that Russell can have that type of thing
everywhere, man.
Yeah, Nate Burleson's doing everything, man.
It's great.
Much love to Nate because Nate was a solid receiver in the NFL. And had some good years there. And he comes out, knows the game. He's very knowledgeable. You don't feel like he's just there just to be there. He gives you good analysis. He just does great color commentary.
And he's on the Today Show too?
He's on the Today Show. He does the Nickelodeon. Like, he does a lot of good things. I can see Russell being that type of, guy. I can see him being the main color guy for somebody down the road, maybe for,
Don't say color.
No, that color commentary guy. You know what I mean. Just get out of here. The color commentary guy.
You didn't say color commentary.
Okay,
said
my
the
fault.
Main color guy.
That doesn't sound bad out loud. But the main color commentary guy. I can see him being
I'm
there.
just trying to protect you the way you would.
I appreciate that because it does sound bad when you just said straight color guy. But I can see that for him. I don't. Obviously Tom's going to have that contract with Fox. He'll be their main guy. But I can see Russell having that impact on one of the networks. Probably not NBC unless Collinsworth decides to leave. Amazon Prime has kind of got their guy. Herb Street and Michael's actually a pretty good combo. I love it hasn't been bad. So
I've been good our last couple shows, but I gotta say this: fuck Herb Street.
I know you don't like him. I know it's bad. I know it's bad. All right, y'all. So that is it for our top stories.
Mother of a son of a gun.
That's
Anyways,
that is it for our top stories. Let's go ahead and get into our Week 16 recap. Now Week 16 was
FUBAR.
was crazy. Now I think let's just go over it. So first you had Jaguars and Jets. Jaguars went 19-3. Trevor Lawrence and the crew continuing to win games.
And we'll talk about this later.
Yes, and they continue to win games. And on top of that, because of a Titans loss, the Jaguars are now on top of the division, Jay. And slowly but surely they've made their way. They've crawled back. Doug Peterson is probably doing his best coaching performance since he's been in the league.
3 years ago, the NFC South and the AFC South were two of the best divisions in football. Now they're crap.
Yeah, but it is so funny because I think I remember talking when we did our previews. I remember saying Jacksonville has a chance to be the team that surprises people in the division. Now we both thought that the Colts would win this division. Boy, were we wrong. You had Matt Ryan, all that good stuff. It just didn't happen. But the Jaguars look great, man. It wasn't a great win, but it was really rainy. Really rainy in New York the other night.
How is a 19-3 victory not a great win?
I know what
you're saying.
Yeah,
it didn't look beautiful.
It didn't look beautiful. It was very muddy out there. It was a little bit, it was rough conditions, but they went out there, they played hard, they got another win.
They look great.
They look great. They look great. Next one, we had Bills and Bears. This game actually was a good game up until
halftime?
No. It was like late in the fourth. The score was like 21. It was 21-13 with like midway through the fourth. And then the Bills scored 2 late touchdowns to make this look worse than what it was. But Justin Fields and the crew hung in that game, and they had it.
10-6 at halftime, and then the Bills scored 29 points.
They scored 29 points. But even though it was 10-6, at the end of the third, it was 21-10. And they were in the mix. In the fourth quarter, they scored. It was 21-13 with I want to say it was like 6 minutes left. And then Josh Allen scored. He threw a touchdown and he ran for one with like the last couple of minutes left, and they really opened it up. But this Bills team, they kind of worry me, Jay, because yes, they go out here, they're the Bills, they're expecting
you get whiplash seeing them.
Yeah, you watch them and it's like, okay, they're the number 1 seed right now in the AFC. but they're not playing like the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're doing what they can, but they're not playing like the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Remember that the environment which they played in was shit.
Yeah, it was trash.
And Justin Fields, they need to get him
Please
a line,
get him some help. Get him some help,
and
please.
a wide receiver that. Because this man is doing stuff that a whole bunch of people talk shit said he couldn't do. He's doing it.
He's playing well. And I root for him. I root for him, except for when he played in Green Bay. I root for him because I see it. I see it. Like, he's going to be special if they can just get him the right pieces. Get him the right pieces, coaching wise, everything. Help this guy be great, except against Green Bay. Everything else, I wish the best for him. So that's all I care about for him, man. So good luck, Justin, man.
The two bottom feeders in the NFC North are now looking like very capable.
Yeah. I mean, teams. You're looking at the Bears still. They need to make some things happen. Yep. The Lions are on the cusp. If you look at they're winning just off of straight coaching. Not saying it's not all talent, but it's straight coaching. They get a couple of more pieces. They got a really good young receiving core. I don't know, man. We'll see.
They need the nose tackle position.
Yeah.
They need that address. They need that Albert Haynesworth before he was a felon type of person to push the line back. Things like that. What? He's bad. But fine, let's go with this. Like a Vitavia.
Okay, I'll take that.
A Vince Wilfork type that can take a double team and push them back into the quarterback.
They just had to they just had to gain a little bit more, get a little bit more talent. They'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. This year, I think they're overachieving this year. I feel like next year is the year they make the league. No, because I think they're overachieving because
if their defense was playing good, they would be up there with the Vikings. If their defense
was playing good, their offense is averaging 30 points a game. So it's like, but that's my thing. They're not there yet. They're close, but they're not there yet. So maybe next year. Next matchup, they had the Saints and the Browns. Ugly contest, miserable game from Cleveland, and Deshaun Watson and the crew take the L, and they are eliminated out of the playoffs. It just looks bad for Cleveland right now. And I still think that's because Deshaun Watson hasn't played football in 2 years.
Why did they bench Myles Garrett?
I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I wonder if he'll play this weekend against Washington. I'm intrigued by that.
You take your defense. Clowney's there, but Clowney's, a paper cut away from being on the IR. So I just,
But somehow, some way, because of the Saints' victory, they are still in the hunt in the NFC South. That NFC South, boy. Next matchup was Chiefs.
Trash.
Trash. The Chiefs and the Seahawks. Chiefs dominated this game. The Seahawks have fell off, man. And this makes me sad a little bit, Jay, because they were looking good. They had the lead in the NFC West. They were shocking people, and they've come back to earth a little bit the last couple of weeks.
I was just browsing my random dumb stuff. Kenneth Walker has reached the highest speed on a breakaway run this year. He's at about 22.5 miles per hour.
Good night.
Yeah.
I got to give Seattle credit, though, man. They always find running backs. Isn't that the craziest thing? Like, they always find running backs, man. I don't understand.
This was the thing we were talking about with Russ. When he was there, he was making plays with nobody named wide receivers and making them look good. Baldwin is the number one that comes up in my head. Baldwin was nobody. Nobody talked about him, and then boom. But anyways, next.
All right, so what I'll say this before we move on. So they were 6-3, Jay, the Seahawks team. They lost to the Buccaneers. They lost to the Raiders. They beat the Rams in there, and they lost to the Panthers, 49ers, and Chiefs. Now, 49ers and Chiefs, by all means. The Raiders game, very winnable. Be honest with you, the Buccaneers game was winnable, but Bucs kind of held them off on there. Panthers game was a game that they probably should have won based off of how they played this year. And the only team they beat were the Rams. And they're struggling at the worst time. And then they got the Jets this week.
You know what it is? Geno Smith came back down to earth.
Just a little bit.
He's thrown 6 interceptions in that time.
But that's the thing. Before then, he was playing great.
He
Like
only
his
threw 3.
his touchdown interception ratio was phenomenal, and he's still
Yes.
having a good season. Overall, on paper, he's still having a really good season. But you're right. He
The
has come back
turnovers
down to
are
earth.
coming over at a bad time. That's the thing.
Really, really true. Next matchup, Vikings and Giants. Giants had this one. And the Vikings, the cardiac kids, man. The Vikings keep finding ways to win games that a lot of people think, oh, there it is, classic Vikings coming on right back, and then something crazy happens and they end up winning the game, man. Like
they've had 2 of the best games I've seen in a long time in one season, and it baffled. Even the Giants game was great. Justin Jefferson is, if not the best, he's a top 3 wide receiver in this league. Yeah. I don't care. They did great getting him.
He leads the league in receiving yards. I don't know. He's been amazing. That team, if they are clicking, they're dangerous. If the biggest thing that's going to hold that team back, 2 things. One, the defense has to play at least solid. I'm not telling them to be lights out, but they got to be solid. And if they can get great, consistent play from who, Mr. Kirk Cousins. If those things happen, they got way too much talent on that team. Now, top 5 tight end, top 5 running back, when they're healthy, top 5 receiver. What else? Solid offensive line.
I was talking to Ricky because he's a Vikings fan. He's like, and I believe you said this too. We're talking about, we got Hawkinson, we're doing this. Osborne stepped up. Thielen is yet to come on.
Yeah.
He got 3 wide receivers that would be at least a number 2 on any other team.
On any other team. And in some teams, ones. So it's just,
yes.
We'll see though. But the Vikings continue to, make a way. Greg Joseph with the beautiful 61-yard field goal for the dub. So congratulations. God, I hate saying it out loud. Congratulations to the Vikings.
I love it because before the game, Ricky had said, everything's going great. We just need a kicker. Man, he made you eat his word. Ricky's like, I guess I can't talk shit about him anymore.
No, man. Joseph has had a really good year. Pro Bowl year for sure, though. So much love to him, though. Next matchup, Bengals and Patriots. The Bengals get a 22-18 victory. It was close, though, because New England started coming back towards the end, and they had control. They were up 22-0 at the half.
Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Lawrence. we have Fields, Herbert.
Next generation.
We have the next generation of stars.
We got the next generation sitting right in the palm of our hands. Is we're going to get a chance to sit back and watch these young guys really grow. But
do you think the Jets regret winning that one game against the Rams where it moved them out of the first pick? The year Lawrence was?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. they have to regret it now because you could have Trevor Lawrence. Now, and Trevor went through his growing pains, obviously, and he's still learning and growing. But the way he's played the last couple of weeks, man, he has been exactly.
We'll talk about it. Come on.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Next one, we had Panthers and Lions. Panthers win 37-23. They ran for over 300 yards rushing. It's crazy.
I love the NFL's random drug tests.
Yeah, did they get Foreman after the game? Is that what they did?
No, they're not Foreman. They got one of the offensive linemen, and he had it setting in his locker when he came in. And for the way the way it works is that you either get a thing along with the text, and once you get the text, you have 3 hours to report, or you're suspended.
Crazy. I thought they would give it to Foreman, but
no,
by all means. It's hilarious. Next one. Next one, we got the Ravens and the Falcons. Wasn't a pretty game, but the Ravens secured a playoff spot with the win, so they won't disappoint like they did last year. They somehow, some way got into the playoffs. I don't know.
Time.
They better hope that Lamar gets back healthy because they're not going to go far without the way it's going.
Well, yeah, I was going to say they're playing the Falcons, and I believe Desmond Ryder got his first start didn't look comfortable, and everybody's like, "Oh, we got to draft a quarterback in the first round." Give the man a chance.
Yeah, it's still early, y'all. I
He
mean,
threw 600 touchdowns in college.
yeah,
The man can throw the rock.
and then Arthur Smith is still, he's very. I don't think Arthur Smith likes his quarterbacks throwing the football. Like, he looks uncomfortable when it's like he kind of hesitates and holds them back a little bit. But
If that man went out and threw a football as hard as they did, his arm would stay attached to the football.
oh boy, next one, Texans. Congratulations to the Houston Texans, man. They get a win over the Titans, 19-14. Houston has
2 wins.
2 wins,
but
they could have more.
Exactly. The last 5 weeks, they've been in almost every game they've been.
Every game.
Played.
And they hung on with the Desperados. They gave the Desperados all they could handle. Should have won that game. They had a chance to beat probably the best team in football, the Kansas City Chiefs. They had it. Couldn't pull it off. Couldn't pull it off, but they beat the Titans, who are falling apart. Titans have lost 5 straight games. 5 straight games. Looking rough. Next match.
They didn't even have Pierce.
They didn't have Pierce. I think Pierce is out for the season now. So and by all means, congratulations to the Texans, though. Next one, 49ers and Commanders, a game that looked good for a while. And then, look, it was not pretty. Okay. It wasn't pretty at all for the Commanders. But one thing that did happen, and we talked about this a couple weeks on the show. You remember 2 weeks ago when we came back, we had for those who may like, we had a cash or trash about Zach Wilson. Will he start? The next week, guess what he starts? We have a cash trash about will Carson Wentz be a starter in the NFL again? Well, guess what? He is starting, and it was announced this morning he will start against the Cleveland Browns this weekend. So, I
still think Taylor's the guy. I mean, the 49ers defense is playing at a different level. Nick Bosa is leading the league in sacks.
He's my defensive player of the year, and it's not close right now for me.
He could be a comeback player because wasn't he hurt last year?
I think he was nicked up last year, but he's definitely, for me, he's the defensive player of the year. You're the best player on the number 1 defense. So for me, I'm giving it to him.
I'm gonna just go up. We got to talk about this Pro Bowl voting. Nothing against TJ Watt, but he's been hurt most of the season, and he's a fucking Pro Bowler. Y'all a bunch of crackheads.
Well, here's the thing, Tua, and I don't know how they're doing it this year because Tua led all voting and didn't make the Pro Bowl. So I don't know if they're not using the fans anymore, but that's what happened. Like they said he led in voting and didn't make the Pro Bowl. So I'm like, why are the fans even voting?
Heineke got shafted because the referee told McLaurin he was on the line and then threw the flag. Heineke's still the answer. I think Wentz has been, never was.
I don't think neither are the answer. I think with Heineke makes too many. He doesn't make crazy mistakes, but when he does make them, it's bad.
He makes them at the wrong time.
Yes, he usually makes one a game, and you gotta. And like I said, I had a colleague tell me if he doesn't make them early, he's going to make it late, and it's going to cost him. And unfortunately in that 49ers game, he had like 3 fumbles, like 2 fumbles. I think he threw a pick if I'm not mistaken, but it wasn't pretty. And so, and Rivera wanted to bring Wentz back in. We knew that was his guy. He wanted Wentz in there. So we're going to see what the Commanders ride out with Carson Wentz.
Next, he only had 1 fumble.
Yeah, 1 fumble
and 1 interception. 1 fumble, 1 interception.
The fumble was bad. I do remember seeing the fumble. It was.
Bro, you've been smoked by Jimmy Ward. Imagine,
hey man,
Bosa
Jimmy's tough.
You'd be like, here you go.
Hey, look, Jimmy's as tough as they come, man. Look, I don't want no more smoke with Jimmy Ward, man. By all means. 49ers win their 8th in a row. Cowboys and Eagles. The Desperados, man. Oh no. It was a good game, man.
It was a great game.
Minshew held his own though. And then he made the big mistake late, and that's what cost him that game.
Exactly. Minshew, the thing I noticed is if you look at the stats, he wasn't throwing to Brown.
No, he did hit him on a couple, but he wasn't throwing to Brown. It was more Smith.
Because he was scared of throwing to Diggs. Now, you and I both know Tavon Diggs, 1 of 2 ways. He either picks the ball or he gives up a touchdown.
Right.
I'd have taken that chance. You got AJ. AJ has some of the best hands in the league. Throw the ball up. Let him jump over the guy. Come on.
Yeah, and it was a good game. Doesn't really hurt the Eagles. Does kind of help the
But
Cowboys a little bit, but
they could have locked up the division and rested their starters
yeah,
here or there.
right. And they could have gone on it and locked up the number 1 seed. And that would have been the biggest thing. They could have locked up the number 1 seed and they could have rested. And then they're more likely, from what I'm hearing, no Jalen Hurts this week against the Saints. So we'll see another week of Minshew unless that changes. So
It's the Saints. So
they should be fine. They should be fine. Next one was Steelers and Raiders. Big game because of where Franco Harris passing away, and they honored him at halftime, and they retired the jersey. And with his death last week, it's just crazy. But what a way for the Steelers to win that game! What a way!
I love it, but also this is one of those classic throwback matches because
Yes.
of two old franchises going at it.
Yes,
It was great.
bitter
And
rivalries, man.
Josh McDaniels needs to be fired this week.
Yesterday, he should have been fired a couple weeks ago.
I agree,
Look, he
but-
shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. They should have never got rid of the guy that's the special teams coach for Rick Balakio. I was saying his name.
It's Steve Balak. I know who you're talking about.
But
Yeah.
but the Packers' current special teams coach should have been the head coach of this team. And I think they did him a disservice, and they did the Raiders a disservice by not having him come back. They rallied for that man, and they played hard for him. And then you come in and change all the philosophy, and this is what you get: a 6-9 team with the best receiver in most people's eyes, still playing great football. And Derek Carr, who last year people were like, man, Derek Carr is just waiting for his moment.
Did you
to shine.
see that interception that Carr threw? It was like, here you go.
Fell apart, man. It's so sad. Last 4 here. We gotta we'll hit through these real quick. Packers and Dolphins. Packers win 26-20. Much needed win for the Packers because they needed this win to stay alive in the playoff hunt.
I live 2 miles from you. I could hear you yelling at the TV.
I know. And then when you came back for Christmas, you saw me yelling at the TV as well.
Yep.
And then we had the Rams and the Broncos. We talked about how miserable the Broncos have been. I pray for our man LT because I know he's going through it right now.
51 points, dude.
Yeah, man, Baker Mayfield. And we'll talk about that a little bit. And this Rams team looking pretty good the last couple of weeks, even despite the Packers game last week. Then you had the Buccaneers beating the Cardinals 19-16 in overtime. Big fumble by the Cardinals late cost them that game. Big fumble. Bounced right off the dude's helmet. Fell apart.
Right now,
hit the ground.
the team up north could beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Touche, homie. Touche. Last but not least, the Chargers beat the Colts 20-3. Wasn't a game, never was a game. Eckler had 2 touchdowns. Herbert had another solid performance. No passing touchdowns, but
Justin Herbert aged 10 years in 2 years, dude. Have you seen pictures of him?
Yeah, he's been going through it.
Yeah,
He's been going through it. Oh man. All right. So that was it for our recap of last week. We're gonna go through real quick and do what?
I said let's hit this hard. Let's get it done.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and knock this out and hit you with cash or trash and get on out of here. And of course, we'll be back next week for 304. But let's go ahead and give you our predictions heading into week 17. All right, Jay. We got our first one tomorrow. We got Cowboys, aka the Desperados, taking on the Titans from Tennessee. Tennessee is falling apart, and the Desperados are playing good football. Who do you have in that one?
I'm going Desperados because that defense is still the defense.
Yeah, I'm also gonna have to I'm also gonna have to go with the Desperados. The Titans are terrible right now. We got Falcons and Cardinals from Atlanta.
Oh shit show.
Tough one.
Let's go with the Falcons. I'm gonna give it to the Falcons because the Cardinals are just shit. I'm done.
I'm going to go with the Falcons, and it's really just a toss-up game. I just want to see Ritter do well, so we'll go with that.
It looks like Mariota might be starting from what I'm reading here.
Is that what that's?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I like Mariota too. I would like to see him do well. I'm going to go with the Falcons. We got Lions and Bears, oh my, from Detroit.
Inside, I'm going to go Lions just because...
Yeah, the Lions are fighting for a playoff spot right now. They cannot afford to lose this one. I will be rooting for the Bears, for that one reason, only because I want Green Bay to get in the playoffs. But then I kind of don't want to get in the playoffs. But anyway, Lions. Next one, we've got Chiefs and Broncos from Kansas City.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going with Chiefs too. Ride Broncos country, ride. I'm so sorry, OT. Next one, we got the Patriots and the Dolphins from New England.
I'm gonna go Patriots, just because no Tua. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater can. No, I'm going Patriots.
I'm also going Patriots. I don't like what's going on in Miami right now. And poor Tua. That's all I said, but we'll talk about that also in a little bit. Next one, we got Giants and Colts from New York.
Giants.
And a couple of weeks ago, I would have said Colts have a chance, but they've looked bad the last couple of weeks, man. And they don't know what they're doing at the QB position. I got the Giants. Next one, we got Eagles and Saints. Eagles and Saints from Philly. Who do you have?
Again, I'm going to go with the Eagles because their defense is still top notch.
I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. I just, I don't know what the Saints are doing. Some weeks it just looks weird. Next, we got the Panthers and the Buccaneers.
This one scares me because I think you're the one that told me if the Panthers beat us, they win the division.
Pretty much,
because they're the only ones that have beaten us in the division.
And they would have a 2-game. They would have a 2-game advantage over you guys, and I don't think they can outright win the division. They have to win all the games out to win the division. But if they beat y'all, I don't think y'all can win the division. Well, it's weird how it is. But I know that if they said if the Bucks win, they win the division. So if y'all win the division. But the Panthers need to win this in order to stay alive.
Looking at this, I got to go with the Panthers because Josh Wells, our starting right tackle from last week, is on the IR. Donovan Smith is questionable. So our line, oh God, Brian Burns is going to kill Tom Brady.
I'm going to go with the Panthers too.
Have we disagreed?
Not yet. But I'm going with the Panthers. I just feel like the Panthers are going to figure it out and make it more interesting heading into next week. We got Commanders and Browns.
See, this one's a bit difficult because, Captain Massage has finally found his happy place. Whoa. And he's playing decent. But, I'm going to go with the Commanders, actually, because, I am a huge Terry McLaurin fan.
I really thought about this one. This one's tough because I don't know, man. I don't know what Commanders team is going to show up. It's nice to see Chase Young back. He played well last week. But I'm actually going to go with the Browns. I think they're still trying to figure that thing out with Watson. But this is the type of game. That, when a lot of people expect Washington to win, they would it just has that weird feeling to it. I'm gonna go with the Browns.
There's one game separating these two teams, and it's a 2-point over under. So I mean, the NFL, everybody's seeing it as close.
It's a toss up. Next one, we got Jaguars and Texans.
Oh, please, Jaguars, please.
Yeah. I got the Jags. We already know what the Sunday night game is going to be the following week. They haven't officially announced it, but we already know that no matter what happens with the Jags and the Titans this week, they both can lose, they both can win. It doesn't make a difference. Next week, the AFC South will be on the line. The winner between the Jags and the Titans from Jacksonville will represent the team in the playoffs. Nice. And there's a strong chance that LegacyMaker will be in the building. That's all I'm hoping for, but we'll see. Next, we got 40, and I got the Jags. We got 49ers and Raiders.
49ers.
They're not make it 9 in a row for the Bang Bang Niner gang. Then we have Seahawks and Jets. This one's actually a little bit harder than you think.
Yes. Because for me, I mean, as long as we have White starting, I mean, I'm going Jets. It's hard to say anything against them, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because, I mean, with no Walker, Geno Smith doesn't stand a chance against that defense, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough for me. I actually picked Seattle in this one because I don't know. I just feel like they'll figure it out. The Jets just I don't know. It's just something about both of these teams right now. They were looking so good in the middle part of the season, and right now they're both falling apart at the worst time. But the game means so much to both teams because they have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. So I feel like it's gonna be a good game, but I think Seattle finds a way to pull it off. I don't know why.
Oh, damn. I'm just reading the injury report, and Walker isn't on it. So
Yeah,
I still got time to change it, but go ahead.
Yeah, they're still without Lockett. Lockett is still out, but they have evaluated to make sure if he's going to play it, not with his I think a broken wrist, if I'm not mistaken. So,
shit.
But yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle. Next one, Packers and Vikings. I will never pick the Minnesota Vikings when they play Green Bay, no matter what the situation is. I do not care. They're the team I hate the most in the NFL. Even if we lose, I will pick the Green Bay Packers. So Green Bay, there it is.
I'm picking the Vikings because after listening to your Pro Bowl corner talk about, oh, dude, it was there and I knew it was coming. I was like, oh man, no, it didn't.
He's hilarious, man. I love Jair.
I was like, what the hell is he on?
It was hilarious because he was like, oh man, and then it came up to me like that, and then it just popped in there. I was watching the game. I was like, what is Jair talking about? I said, you know what? They're having fun. By all means, use that energy next week.
It was great. I loved it. But I'm still gonna. I've been picking the Vikings, and they've been winning, so I'm picking the Vikings.
Oh, that's great. All right, next one we got the Chargers and the Rams are from LA. It's a home game for both teams.
I'm going Chargers.
I'm going Chargers too. Despite Baker and the squad playing better football, I'm going with the Chargers. We got Steelers and Ravens from Pittsburgh.
Now, see this one. This is because if it's Huntley, they both suck. For Tomlin's sake, I'm going Steelers.
I'm also going Steelers for the same reasons. For Tomlin's sake, I want to see Tomlin do well. And the crazy thing is the Steelers still have a chance to make the playoffs. Remember last year when nobody thought they would make the playoffs and they just kind of snuck in? It's starting to feel the same way this time around too. So the Steelers are there. The Dolphins are failing. Who knows? Last but not least, this one's going to be a crazy one. Monday Night Football, Bengals and Bills. And there's a lot on the line in this game, Jay. If the Bengals beat the Bills and the 49ers, and the Chiefs beat the Broncos, the Chiefs are going to move into the 1 spot. The Bengals move into the 2 spot. Here's the real kicker. If the Chiefs and the Bills lose, the Bengals move into the number 1 spot in the AFC. They play good football, man. They've been playing great lately.
And it's so difficult because, almost everywhere they match up except at corner because Eli Apple sucks and you got White on the other side. I'm going Bills.
Well, it's crazy. 1, 2, 3. They have won 7 in a row. The Bengals have won 7 in a row, and they've won 9 out of their last 10. And so their only loss coming in between that time frame was to the Browns. They've been clicking.
I'm just looking at the stats here. Allen has got. They're both quarterbacks are over 4,000 yards passing. Both are over 30 touchdowns. They're 13 and 12 interceptions. It matches up almost perfect. The only thing that is different is running back. The Bengals have a better all-purpose running back.
It should be a really, really good game, Jay, coming from that game. It's gonna be a good Monday night game because I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of these Monday night games lately have been kind of like, on
the
paper,
Thursday night game started off.
Yeah, so we'll see how that all goes down there. All right, everybody, those are our predictions, and now it is time to finish up the show. It is time for
And now it's time for Cash or Trash.
All right, let's cash it. Let's trash it. First one that we have on Cash or Trash, Tua. Tua has been going through it, man. I think this, and I'm not mistaken on the number, I think this is his 3rd concussion that he's had this year. But after another concussion, after being in a concussion protocol one more time, Cash or Trash, Jay, should Tua truly consider retirement after another concussion?
I hate to say this because he's so young, but yeah, I really the hip thing and the head thing, I can 100%. I know what the man's been through, and it's terrible. He's a leader. He is, has the ability to be an amazing, but you got to take care of your brain. Ask AB. And I'm not trying to make jokes or anything like that. The man's complete. He was a Hall of Fame receiver until Vontae Burfict ripped his head off.
Mhm.
And now he's going from throwing bags of dicks at baby mamas to things like that.
It's not funny, but when you hear it out loud, it's crazy.
But
And
it's
then
true.
and he just got into a scuffle with the police. We thought we didn't know
Again.
what was going to come out of that police situation. It was a hostage situation going on supposedly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Tua, NFL, you made it. You did what you got to do. If anybody shames you for taking care of yourself, then shame on them.
well, I'm going to cash it. He should definitely consider it. The one thing that trips me out, I saw a stat that kind of blew my mind. They went back to look and see where they thought the concussion might have happened. And the stats that he had before the concussion.
Oh, yeah, I seen him.
It was like 18 for 20, 219 yards cruising. Since the time from the concussion, he had 3 picks. And you watch the picks, they were bad throws. They threw one terrible one that just kind of, we all talked about how Jair was celebrating. And it's just at this point, it's like I'm worried about him. And you know what? You got to blame the Dolphins organization for this because they set him up earlier in the season. And instead of really truly making sure he was taken care of, this is what happens. Later in the season, even after they were struggling, but this is what happens, man. And I'm not a fan of that.
And he's got a solid backup behind him. Teddy Bridgewater is still a good quarterback in this league.
He is that.
I mean, I would like to see him retire and become a coach. I think he will be a great coach.
I hope for the best for Tua, man. I just hate to see it happen. I was rooting for him because of all the
now. Before you flip to the next one, I want to throw a cash or trash in here.
Okay.
Apple TV taking over NFL Red Zone. How you feel about it?
What you mean?
You didn't hear about that?
I heard about the YouTube and
Oh, YouTube. There you go. Yeah,
YouTube and
Sorry,
Sunday Ticket.
not Apple.
Man, you got me worried, man. I'm like, look, I have Apple. I don't mind paying the money because I love NFL Red Zone. I gotta watch NFL Red Zone.
What about the YouTube taking over?
Yeah, they're taking over DirecTV. It was like $300.
I don't like it.
They said $300 for the year. It's $300 for the year. They said $300 for all the games. If you think about it, it kind of is. You get all the games. If you do, and they're also going to do individual teams, which I think is probably the best thing they've ever done. Because think about it.
Okay.
How many times have you said, "Man, I wish the Buccaneers game was just on TV and I could watch just that"? They're going to do subscriptions where you can just watch Buccaneer games all year.
I agree because I remember 2 years ago when Tom Brady came, we started getting more TV time. I've been blessed by that. Right. Because before that, I watched my team play a game 3 times. 3.
Right. Well, I think it sucks. I mean, like, let's be honest with you. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't the quarterback before and Brett Favre, you never see Green Bay on TV here. It would be the Commanders / Redskins / Washington football team all day. Ravens all the time. We wouldn't get a chance to see them. And like I said, thank goodness we have a good quarterback. But what happens when Jordan Love takes over? And will they be like, we don't know if Jordan Love's going to be great or not. So when he does take over, are we going to get to see him? No. So in a way, I'm like, okay, this is good. I like it because I'll be able to see, I'll have the choice to go like, all right, I want to watch Green Bay games all year. So
okay. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I'm not paying $300.
Like I said, I'm not
Tampa Bay.
Right. I'm not paying $300. If they're going to do the individual, because they said there might be prices different for the individual games, like individual teams. If you're doing that, I could be down for that. For that. But I don't really need to see everybody because I got Red Zone for that. If I want to see everything, I pay $13 a month to watch Red Zone. Boom. I'm good. So
makes sense. All right,
next one, cash or trash. The Jacksonville Jaguars can be the AFC team, Cinderella team heading into the playoffs if they get in.
Absolutely. Because you know what? I love their coach. I still think Trevor Lawrence needs a haircut, but I love everything. Walker's done for the season, the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And he wasn't putting great numbers up, but he had that the presence of him being on the field definitely helped.
He was still making a difference.
Yes.
It's kind of like Rashawn Gary was his first couple years in Green Bay. Like, he was there, he was kind of making, moves, but he wasn't getting the sacks, he wasn't getting the tackles, but he was still doing good. And that's the same thing Walker was doing.
Depth chart so I can see what they look like, because I'm versed with them because I know they got Josh Allen, but I haven't heard much about him because he had a great couple years and then nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they're still. I think that defense as a whole has just gotten better. There's a lot of no names on there, I guess you can say, or non-names, I guess you can say, but I wouldn't say no names, but names that you haven't heard of that much.
Well, no, you can't say that because they still got Chase on, the 2020 first-round pick from LSU.
Oh, I remember him.
He's second string, sorry. And Arden Key.
And Arden Key had a nice pickup for a touchdown, I think, a couple of weeks ago. He's been playing really well.
I mean, wow. I like this defense. I really do. They got, I believe they can be. You know what? Don't be surprised if you see the Jacksonville Jaguars playing, not saying winning, but playing in that AFC Championship game.
It would not surprise me one bit. And here's the deal. If they, as of right now, let's say they make the playoffs. Right now, they're the 4th seed, so they're going to get a home game. And who would they play right now? A miserable Baltimore Ravens team. And who did they beat a couple weeks ago? The Baltimore Ravens. And I think Lamar played in that game. So Lamar played in that game. Just imagine what they would do without Lamar playing in that game. And you see,
like I said, you go across the team. They got Peterson, who's got. He did a whole bunch of a lot with Nick Foles. Nothing against Nick Foles,
right?
But he won a ring with Nick Foles.
Exactly. So I think they could get past them. Then they more likely would play the 1 seed in that scenario. More likely, which would be the Bengals, the Bills.
Yeah. But they know the Bills. They play them twice a year.
Yeah.
So or once a year. Sorry.
Once a year. Yeah. Well, they got the Chiefs in there. And they played well against the Chiefs early this year, but then the Chiefs, kind of became the Chiefs. If there's any of those teams that they could beat, I think that the Bengals and the Bills will be the two that they could probably beat. The Chiefs might be a little bit tougher, but the other two are possible.
The offense has stepped up because they're like top 10 right now offensively. So I believe once the man on the screen got comfortable in that offense,
yeah,
he is the only person that could stop them as long as that defense keeps playing good.
Well, he's definitely looking different. All right, last one here. Cash or trash. Here's a fun one. Baker Mayfield is the future for the Los Angeles Rams.
Bullshit.
Come on, man. Baker out there balling, man.
Baker ain't balling.
He's played better football. He looks for a guy to come into a game and, especially a couple weeks against the Raiders, come into a game after only being with the team 48 hours. Okay, play pretty decent. Played kind of miserable against Green Bay. Kind of seen the Baker we've seen before. Come back against a miserable Broncos team. It's like, okay, he's playing well against
shit teams.
So you kind of want to see it against a really good team. Now we're gonna kind of see that against the Chargers.
We'll see the Chargers, but I'm gonna tell you, him and Joey Bosa. Is he playing or is he out for the season?
I think I saw something that said he was either thinking about playing or he should be playing.
Because if Joey Bosa playing, y'all gonna be best friends, buddy.
It's gonna be rough.
Remember when Baker was there and he put the flag? Bosa was on that Ohio State team.
He was. He coming for him. That's not good.
He gonna be in. I hate to say this. He gonna be in concussion protocol by then.
Oh my god! I'm gonna say, I don't know, man. If anybody can turn him around, McVay can. I will say that. I'm gonna trash it, but I think if he does come around, I think he just. Let's be honest. The guy's had 7 coaches since he's been in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like he's had 7.
He's the new generational Alex Smith.
Right. Well, I'm trying not to make any excuses for him. I am. But it's just like maybe let's see how he does under some stability. That's all I'm saying. Let's put it that way. I just want to see how he does under some stability. McVay's not going anywhere no time soon.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I don't see it. I hope Baker hooks onto a team and he's a backup. He can do that. He is not a leader. From what I've heard, well, the fan pages, I mean, from what Cleveland other players say, and I mean, there's a lot of Ohio State guys on that team that I follow that are he is like they said he was a COVID of a locker room.
That's not good.
So
that's not good. You can't be the COVID of the locker room, man. That's not a good look.
And if you look at the guy that won them a championship, Matthew Stafford is a warrior. Baker Mayfield is not that warrior.
Well, we'll see if they can make things, or if he can, finally get his footing. But we'll know. All right, everybody, that is it. That is episode 303 of the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Man, thank you all for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for just being a part of it. We really thank everybody. Our man Corey Allen tunes in. What's up, Corey? Good to see you, brother. Hope all is well. That's our guy right there, one of the best photographers that I know. So much love to my man Corey out there.
Your wife ain't home, is she?
She's there.
I'm just picking. I'm picking because you said photographer.
I know, but I said one of the best. I didn't say the best.
But I remember you saying something about Chanel couldn't get a good picture in on the sun with lighting.
I don't
you never said that.
I had to think about it. I don't think I said. But I
love that you had to stop and think.
I had to think about it. I don't know. There's no telling on that one. I might have said something crazy.
I would not bus drive you
with
your wife on our network.
I know Corey's like, oh my goodness. Look, you see how he's trying to get me in trouble, Corey? You see how he's trying to get me in trouble, man? Look, don't let him. I'm not gonna let him do it to me. But I will say this: sports photography not her thing. We will say that. We'll say that. Sports. She got me on everything else.
I'm like Chanel's little brother, so she knows that I like to try to get him in trouble.
That's hilarious. All right, everybody, let's get on out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back next week for episode 304.
Everybody, please bring in your new year. Be safe. Just love one another. Tell your tribe. Make sure, because tomorrow is never promised.
Touche, homie. Touche.
Not trying to be.
Y'all be safe out there. Have a good New Year's and be just, don't do nothing crazy, y'all. Please.
And if you're gonna do something a little reckless, just be careful, because the 5-0 is out there too.
Yeah, be. It's gonna sound crazy. Be reckless in a safe environment. If that makes any sense.
Or, call Darrell. He'll come get you.
Yeah. If I'm not.
I know you won't.
If I'm not.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We're to the age where we're gonna set an alarm so we can wake up at midnight.
Well, at least 5.
You and I both.
At least 5 minutes before. At least.
And then you go night.
All right, everybody. Y'all take care of yourselves. Thank y'all for tuning in for episode 303. We'll be back next Wednesday for episode 304. Until next time.